Have you ever felt like your company's data is either locked away in some impenetrable fortress, or maybe it's just floating around in a murky swamp? Well, today, we are going to unlock it all. We're going to take a journey through the evolution of data architecture, from the super rigid systems of the past to the incredibly flexible, intelligent platforms we have today. So let's dive in. Look, we're all swimming, no, drowning, in data these days, right? From sales reports and spreadsheets to social media streams and sensor logs. So where does it all actually live? And maybe more importantly, how in the world do we make any sense of it? That's the big question we're here to answer. So let's start at the beginning. We've got to wind the clock back a bit to the original solution that honestly dominated the scene for decades, the data warehouse. For a very long time, this was the absolute gold standard for getting reliable answers from your business data. The challenge they were trying to solve back then was, pretty straightforward. How do we take all this structured business data, things like sales figures, customer lists, financial records, and turn it into something useful for reports and analysis? Businesses were desperate for order in the chaos. And the data warehouse was the answer. It provided that order. The best way to think about it is like a meticulously organized library. See, data isn't just dumped in here. Oh no, it's carefully cleaned, it's categorized, it's transformed, and then it's put on the right shelf, all ready for analysts to grab and use for their reports and dashboards. Now, the one word to remember here is rigidity. This is so important. Warehouses can only handle structured data, and they use a model called schema-on-write. What that really means is you have to design the entire blueprint, the whole data structure, before a single piece of information can be loaded in. This makes the data super clean and reliable, which is perfect for business intelligence or BI. But, and this is a big but, it's also expensive and incredibly inflexible if your data needs to change. But of course, the world didn't stand still. The data landscape was about to change, just dramatically. And this led to a totally new way of thinking, the data lake. And then, boom, suddenly it wasn't just about neat columns and rows in a spreadsheet anymore. Companies were hit with a tidal wave of social media posts, sensor data from IoT devices, videos, audio files, you name it. This new data was messy, it was unstructured, and the warehouse's rigid system, well, it just couldn't handle it, not even close. And this slide right here highlights the huge shift in philosophy. The warehouse, with its schema-on-write, demanded you build the house before you could put anything inside. The data lake completely flipped that script with schema-on-read. This means you just dump all your raw data in first. Doesn't matter if it's structured, unstructured, whatever. And you only figure out the structure later when you're actually ready to analyze it. It's a massive, game-changing move that values flexibility above everything else. So a data lake is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a massive, low-cost storage pool. Just like a natural lake, it can hold anything and everything in its raw, unfiltered native format. This made it the perfect sandbox for data scientists who needed to just explore and experiment with all kinds of different data to build things like machine learning models. But there was a huge catch. All that flexibility came at a price. Without the strict rules and governance of a warehouse, these data lakes often turned into what people started calling data swamps. Just a messy, undocumented, untrustworthy quagmire of data. And when you can't trust your data, well, it's basically useless. It leads to bad decisions and failed projects. Okay, so this brings our story right up to the modern day. To solve this big problem, this choice between a rigid but reliable warehouse and a flexible but chaotic lake, a new hybrid approach emerged, and they call it the Data Lakehouse. The concept is actually kind of brilliant in its simplicity. You just take the best of both worlds. You start with a low-cost, flexible storage of a data lake, but then you layer on top the reliability, the structure, and the management features of a data warehouse. And what you get is a single, unified platform that can handle traditional business intelligence and cutting-edge AI, all from the same source of data. And the benefits here are just huge. You get one single source of truth, which means you're not spending tons of time and money copying data all over the place. Think about it. A retail company's BI team can run their daily sales reports, while their data scientists are building a futuristic prediction model, and they're both using the exact same up-to-the-minute data. Plus, because it uses open formats, you're not locked into one single company's expensive ecosystem. Okay, so we've met the three main players in our story. Now let's put them all side by side. This is where it'll all really click into place. Let's just walk through this real quick. Data type warehouse is structured only. Lake and Lakehouse can handle everything. Schema, warehouse is strict schema-on-write. The lake is flexible schema-on-read, and the lakehouse gives you a hybrid of both. So what's it best for? The warehouse is for classic BI, the lake is for raw data exploration, and the lakehouse is for doing both, unified analytics. And check out that governance row. It's strong for the warehouse and lakehouse, but weak for the lake. That's why people say the lakehouse is the best of both worlds. It balances all the power with some much-needed control. So, seeing all of these trade-offs laid out like this, it kind of brings up the natural next question, right? Where is all this going? What does the future of data look like? This timeline really puts our entire journey into perspective, doesn't it? We started back in the 80s with the data warehouse, built for structured business intelligence. Then, in the 2010s, we got the data lake for machine learning and exploration. And that brings us to today, with the Data Lakehouse, which is trying to unify it all on one powerful platform. And the trend here is just crystal clear. The industry is definitely shifting towards the lakehouse. Now, don't get me wrong, a data warehouse could still be the perfect fit for a company with super stable reporting needs. And a simple data lake might be great for a pure research project. But that unified model is really gaining momentum. In fact, some experts are predicting that lakehouse adoption rates could shoot past 70% in just the next few years. So why is everybody jumping on board? Well, it's pretty simple. Lakehouses reduce complexity, which reduces cost. They're built for cheaper cloud storage, they are perfectly designed for the crazy demands of AI and machine learning, and using open formats means you don't get trapped by one provider. It really is an architecture built for today. So I'll leave you with one final thought to chew on. As artificial intelligence continues to completely reshape, well, pretty much every industry on the planet, you have to ask yourself, is your data architecture really built for the challenges of tomorrow? Is it ready for the age of AI?